Hi guys, Kenny Jacobs here again. I want to do another video talking about current events as it relates to Bible prophecy, and really today I'm going to be talking about President Trump and how it seems that he seems to be speeding up the end time process. And I've got a lot of headlines that will kind of indicate that. And keep in mind that President Trump is speaking tonight about an America First foreign policy, and probably going to be a very interesting speech. And out of Israel news today, here's an interesting headline. Trump's new doctrine, Israel not the cause of Mid-East problems. Awesome. I love that headline. Trump's new doctrine, Israel is not the cause of Mid-East problems. Pretty much the exact opposite of the Obama administration. And it's very true, certainly extremely true that Israel is not the problem, but it's going to be an extremely unpopular viewpoint around the world. It's an unpopular viewpoint with the Vatican, and it's certainly an unpopular viewpoint with Satan. We are heading into the final 7-year period of time of spiritual warfare like this world has never seen before, and deception and delusion, and wow, it's just getting more and more interesting every day. So because of that, Mahmoud Abbas is going to head to Saudi Arabia to discuss Trump's Jerusalem decision. Again, Jerusalem is a cup of trembling, a burdensome stone for all the world. Abbas, unhappy at India's tepid response to Trump's Jerusalem move. While the Knesset speaker in Israel asks dozens of countries to recognize Jerusalem. Here's an interesting poll that was taken by Religious News Network. Donald Trump beats out Pope Francis as top religion newsmaker of the year. Did you hear that? Donald Trump beats out Pope Francis as the top religion newsmaker of the year. Well, to me, that's just more proof that Pope Francis is not the vicar of Christ. If he truly represented Jesus Christ on earth, as the Catholics seem to think, I don't believe he would be beaten out by Donald Trump as the top religious newsmaker of the year. He is an Pope Francis is an apostate political leader. The Pope is a political person, an office, certainly not representative of the true gospel of Jesus Christ. Christians and Jews now compare Trump to Persian King Cyrus. Will he build the third temple? But last article I'm going to go into today, I'm going to go into in great detail, and it's about a third temple. Why Trump continues to forge an unlikely bond with religious conservatives. That's another headline. And that headline is basically saying what the point of this video is that God may be using Donald Trump to speed up the end time process. And then here's another headline. Jerusalem is not the explosive device. It's the detonator. And again, Jerusalem, a cup of trembling, a burdensome stone. And the Lord says he will seek to destroy all the nations that come against Jerusalem. But here's an article that I want to go into in detail real quickly, and it's written by an architect from Moscow. Moshe Komsky is his name. He's a Moscow architect who has drawn up a plan for a third temple, which would be an all-inclusive temple, not just for the Jews, but for all the other religions too. He's a Moscow architect and student of religious history from a secular believer viewpoint. Now let me go ahead and read some of this article. It's a very long article. I just picked out certain parts of it to highlight, but I need to go into a little bit of detail on this. It says the need to integrate economic political, and cultural life of nations manifests itself clearer than ever in the modern world. This process is realized in the two major directions: under pressure through power of one over another, and by free will, as a brotherhood of people devoted to their common Father, the Creator. We're going to start hearing more and more about this common bond, this common God, this creator of all of us. We're all part of humankind, mankind, and let's put aside our religious differences. The first direction is the oppression exercised by stronger nation over weaker one that destroys the way of life and spiritual values of the latter. Dictatorships of all type, ancient despotism, colonial systems, fascism, communism, Islamic Wahhabism, or financial power expansion, dollars, market invasion, and globalism. He sees that as worldwide problems. Again, the Antichrist will seem to have the answers to all of this. The second direction will come true when people realize their mutual spiritual relationships and brotherhood. As soon as they see clearly that the soul of each of them comes of the one and same origin that is the divinity. In this case, they'll manage to return the power over themselves to their common creator and will get down to peaceful terms, acknowledging the specific features of each way of life and legitimacy of each way to God. There isn't multiple ways to God, and I will stand on that truth, and I'll get more into that later. Then at last, the nations will end their wars caused by territories, property, or ideological system, and they will find out that all their possessions, lands, and their mere life belong to the Creator. This kind of sounds a little bit like John Lennon's song Imagine, doesn't it? The first direction is a blind alley that leads to a succession of New World conflicts. The second one is hardly achievable. However, in the period after the Second World War, decisive changes in the ecumenical direction have taken place concerning the Christian world, i.e. mutual approaching of Catholicism, Protestantism, and partly Orthodox Church. Lifting of anathemas, creation of the World Council of Churches, the experience of particular many days, common prayers, arrangement of extra confessional communities. And again, we see Pope Francis doing that. We see Pope Francis bringing together all these world religions for common prayer and things of that nature. Certain success of the ecumenical movement has strengthened the basis for the creation of the common European market as the first step of national union on the grounds of free will. Now, let's go to some other parts of this article. Construction of multi-congregational temples in a number of religious centers around the world: Istanbul, Rome, Mecca, Moscow, London, cities of the New World, China, and Japan. It's worth to notice that in the town of Delhi at the end of the 20th century, a temple of 9 religions was built. The image of the third temple of the whole mankind on the Jerusalem Temple Mountain can make an image for inspiring such new types of temples, and its realization, in turn, may be their ultimate result. With such new attempts of Jews sharing with Christians and with Muslims, the Promised Land can be transformed into the center of pilgrimage, while Jerusalem can become the spiritual capital of the world. This activity, welcomed to the Almighty, could at the same time remove the economic and religious reasons for the terror nowadays spread in Israel. The heart of that peacemaking initiative is to change now occupied areas into worldwide center of pilgrimage for believers of all 3 religions of the same origin. It happens so that the main routes and camps of nomads or forefathers, prophets, the founders of Christianity and Islam, are located in the Jordan Valley. Here, in short, nominations are of Abraham stands in the Promised Land, Oak Grove, Shore. I'm not going to go into all these names of these different places, but let's scroll down. It says it will help promote economic profit, but also understand the peacemaking efforts of his proposals. His logic is a simple one. There are more than a milliard Christians on the earth. Each of these dreams of visiting the Holy Land at least once, to go out to go the route of Abraham, the father of all believers, and the route of the Israeli prophets, and the route of Jesus, as well as the route of the founders of Islam. So I think we must build new relations in the mutual understanding and cooperation between the religions of one origin, applying to the authority of our common forefathers and prophets. The second group of measures possibly could strengthen the unanimity, which begins to show in the practice of pilgrimage through creation in Jerusalem, a scientific and theological center of God cognition. The Council of Elders of Israel could possibly develop together with creative organizations of Christianity and Islam and the State of Israel could put into reality the following programs to be carried out in Jerusalem. The highest ecclesiastical academy of all three religions of Abrahamic origin, the ruled center of ecumenist movement, the scientific center of problems common to all mankind, history, philosophy, psychology, and ecology, center of legislative basis perfection for new social relations of people using the experience and the achievements of Israelis something and juristic norms of other nations, as well as move to Jerusalem of functions of UNO concerning humanitarian and charity activities. And it goes on about creating libraries and video libraries and computer centers and all these things based around this ecumenical movement, this one world religion that will encompass everyone. And then finally, he actually has a drawing here, plans of it, and goes into detail and says the Dome of the Rock with the Holy Rock itself can serve as the foundation stone of the third temple, as it can easily grant the proper condition for placing the common altar, the sanctum sanctorium of the unified religions. 8 sides of the cupolas may be treated as basis for construction of prayer buildings of various monotheistic congregations, according to their accepted orientation in relation to the altar. Judaism from the eastern side, Christian from the western one, Islam from the northern side, Hinduism from the southern one. The apartments for mystical practices, the Kabbalah, the mundane rose, Sufism, and Buddhism, can be situated near the corresponding buildings of traditional theologies. See below, and he has a plan for this. He has an architectural drawing of this. All that sounds like it's impossible to happen. But we do know that there will be a third temple. This one world religion is going to come about, no matter how impossible it seems to us right now. How it happens, I don't know. All I know is God's going to allow it to happen on His timing. And when He says it's time, and it's time for the Antichrist to rise, and it's time for the one world religion, the false prophet, to take over, it will happen. But what we can see in the daily headlines is all of this coming together right now. And we can certainly see around the world this call for unity and this call that we're all going to the same place. We all worship the same God. And fundamentalism, Pope Francis has spoke out about fundamentalism. He said Christian fundamentalists are sick. He sees, if you believe the Bible is the literal Word of God, and you believe these end-time events, then Pope Francis says you're dangerous and you're sick. In I can't remember the name of it now. There's a list of 72 things. The Department of Homeland Security has a list of 17 things that make you a threat. One of certain things, like if you are a member of a certain, like if you're a born-again Christian, if you're a Roman Catholic, if you're somebody that believes in Second Amendment rights, if you're against the New World Order, that's a big one. If you're against the New World Order. 72 things on this list that make you a potential threat to America, and none of them are Islam, by the way. You can see traditional biblical Christianity being removed from the planet eventually, and maybe not in the too near future. I pray that you're ready. If not, today is the day of salvation. Give your life to Jesus Christ while you still can. Thank you very much. God bless you.